can enjoy the freedoms and opportunities we often take for granted. They faced hardship, have been separated from their families, and have seen and experienced things most of us can't imagine, all in the name of protecting our way of life. Today, we stand united in appreciation for their service and sacrifice. We thank our veterans and their families for their unwavering commitment. But let us also remember that honoring our veterans goes beyond this one day. It is a daily responsibility. We must continue to support them, not only in word, but in action. So as we move forward with our program, let us keep in mind the great significance of this day. It is a day to honor, reflect, and express our profound gratitude to our veterans past and present, who have selflessly served our nation. Thank you for joining us in this important occasion. Today, we pay homage to our heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the presentation of our nation's flag.
Stripes represents the ideals, values, and the freedoms of the United States of America. It serves as a symbol of our unity, resilience, and the sacrifices made to preserve our way of life. As we stand here today, witnessing the unfurling of this symbol of freedom, let us remember that the flag is more than just cloth and colors. It represents the shared dreams of generations and the dedication of those who have defended it with their lives. The Pledge of Allegiance, recited immediately after the presentation, is a solemn promise to uphold and honor the principles our flag embodies. So, as we stand to pledge allegiance to this flag, let us do so with reverence and gratitude. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, which is a testament to our commitment to the values for which our flag stands. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
World War I officially ended on June 28, 1919, in the town of Versailles, France. However, fighting ceased 7 months earlier when an armistice went into effect at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. In November 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day. If the idealistic hope had been realized that World War I was the war to end all wars, November 11th might still be called Armistice Day. But in 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower changed the name to Veterans Day so that we may honor all veterans.
Ladies and gentlemen, teachers, and fellow students, today I want to share with you what Veterans Day means to me and why it holds a special place in my heart. Veterans Day is a day of immense significance in our country. It's a day when we come together to honor and express our gratitude to the men and women who have served in the armed forces. These brave individuals have made tremendous sacrifices to protect our nation and its values. They've shown unwavering dedication and courage, often in the face of great adversity. Veterans Day is important to me because it serves as a reminder of the sacrifices our veterans have made. These are individuals who put their lives on the line, leaving behind their families and homes to ensure our safety and freedom. It's a day that reminds us of the cost of freedom and responsibilities we have and support those who have served. I believe it's our duty to show our veterans that their sacrifices have not been in vain. We can do this by thanking them for their service, by supporting them as they transition back to civilian life, and by understanding the challenges they may face. We can also remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice and their families who live with that loss every day. In school, we learn about the values of integrity, honor, and courage. Veterans' principles are not just words in the textbooks. They are qualities that real people exhibit in their daily lives. Veterans are true role models, and I am inspired by their dedication and love for our country. So on this Veterans Day, let's take a moment to say thank you to the veterans in our community, to recognize their service, and to honor their sacrifices. Let's also remember that Veterans Day is not just a one-day event, but a commitment to supporting our veterans one day of the year. Thank you for listening, and thank you to all the veterans who have served our great nation.
Each and every day, countless sacrifices are made by the brave men and women in our armed forces to protect the many freedoms that each of us enjoy. Today, we salute you. Today, we are honored to have veterans among us, and many of you in this audience may have friends and family that have served or are currently serving in the armed forces right now. To the veterans that are with us here today, and to the families of veterans, we thank you and will not forget the sacrifices that you have made for each of us.
Today we are honored to welcome a guest speaker to our school. He is a 2004 graduate of Ozona High School. After graduation, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, where he proudly served from 2004 to 2012. During his patriotic service, he was deployed to Iraq for 3 combat tours and deployed to Afghanistan for 1 combat tour. Now, he proudly serves his family as a father and a husband. I am so honored to introduce my dear friend, Sergeant Romeo Perez III.
Thank you. Believe it or not, I'm more nervous being in front of you guys than I was over there, so just bear with me. We definitely appreciate all the hospitality and everything that our community gives back to us. As you can see in front of you, there's a lot of men and women who have done the same thing I did. I just did it at a different time frame, but believe it or not, seeing them growing up as a little kid, I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know what, if I was going to be a cop or what exactly I was going to go in the direction of, but my father was always my biggest inspiration. So he served in the Army, and you know, as a kid, you always wanted to one-up your parents, so I just figured instead of the Army, I'll just go to the Marine Corps. And so I made that choice, and I'm grateful that the supportive family that I did grow up in, my parents not once told me not to do it. I went during a time of war. I knew what I was signing up for with the job status that I picked, but they still never once told me I couldn't do it. So I think with the backing of them in the community, every time I come back and look at your faces and everybody's telling me thank you, is what kept me pushing to do another one, and then another one. And by the time I knew it, 8 years had gone by and been to 17 different countries, probably lived 6 years overseas in dirt and sand, and probably miserable, you know, most of my time. But when you come back and you see this happening, and you guys get to do what y'all want to do every day, you play sports, there's nobody dictating how to live y'all's lives, and you get a choice to be an astronaut, whatever you decide you want to be in the future. It's because of the men and women like this that sacrifice for you guys. So, like I said, I'm nobody special, I'm just a name in a book. But with everybody's arms together, this country succeeds and continues to be the same way it's always been, free. And that's what we fight for. We fight for you guys, our families, the men and women to our sides, and we don't lose. We're really good, I guess, at fighting. But no, I appreciate it all. Taylor had asked me to do the speech, and I suffer from things coming out of the military, things that I have to deal with. But anxiety is one of my biggest things. I don't like to speak to crowds. I don't like to be in the big crowds. But, I'm doing this for all the veterans here and you guys, to give you guys some insight, and how grateful we really are, and appreciate everything you guys do for us. These little walk-throughs the hallways here, and you guys screaming USA and telling us thank you means more than you guys will ever know. So, thank you guys once again, and God bless America.
Thank you, Sergeant Pettis. We are all inspired by your service to our country. Throughout this nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardmen have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the American service members who died in battle or were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the veterans still living today. We ask that each veteran stand as I recognize each of you individually. It is indeed our privilege to say thank you for your service and honor to each of you, for each of your sacrifices. Okay, so I'm going to begin with the service in the Air Force. And, sorry, I got paper clips cooler up here. First, I would like to recognize Airman First Class Tracy De La Rosa. Tracy served from August Staff Sergeant Robert Furr. Staff Sergeant Robert served from 1984 to 1996, and he campaigned in the Persian Gulf Wars. Tech Sergeant Les Childress. Tech Sergeant Childress served from 1967 to 1974. He was in the 146th Combat Support Squad Civil Engineer Group. Senior Airman Jessica Everett. Senior Airman Everett served from 2000 to 2004, and that is all that served in our Air Force. Now I would like to recognize the soldiers of the Army. First off, Private First Class Paul H. Green served from 1963 to 1966. His commendations include an expert rifleman and a Vietnam service medal. Private Second Class Selena Newby. Ms. Newby served from 1990 to 1993. She campaigned in Desert WATC and Desert Storm. Sergeant Daniel Cruz. Serving from 2006 to 2011, he campaigned in Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. Sergeant James O. Hare, serving from 1966 to 1968. His major campaigns include Vietnam, and his commendations include 2 Oak Leaf Cluster medals and a Vietnam service medal. Specialist E4 Ray Martinez, serving from 1978 to 1981. His commendations include Medal of Commendation and 3rd Armored Cavalry. Romero J. Pettis Jr., serving from 1977 to 1981. Specialist E4 Jimmy Tambunga, serving from July 1975 to July 1978. His commendations include expert marksman and M16s, Colt 45s, and shotguns. Specialist E5 Cat Cervantes, serving from 1970 to 1972. Chief Warrant Officer Pete Nolan, serving from 1968 to 1970. Sergeant Jerry Heckathorn, serving from 1970 to 1973, serving in Vietnam in helicopters and fixed wings. Sergeant First Class Jamie Olivares, serving from 1995 to June 2007. He campaigned in Operation Iraqi Freedom. Specialist 5th Class Elliot Barrera, serving from 1966 to 1969. Specialist 5th Class, and I believe it's Sandy still? Okay. From 1970 to 1972, serving in Germany in the 447 Signal Corps. Specialist Stormy Oglesby, serving from 2002 to 2006, military intelligence in Germany and the 98K Signal Ambulance. Sergeant James Jim Fish, serving from 1970 to 1978 in the Vietnam era. And lastly, for our soldiers of the Army, we have Sergeant Stephen Scott, serving from 1987 to 1991. He campaigned in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. His commendations include Purple Heart and Bronze Star. Next, we will do the sailors of the Navy. First, I'd like to introduce Petty Officer 2nd Class Jasmine Fullingham. She served from 1996 to 2006. Petty Officer 1st Class Tom Fullingham from 1994 to 2004. He campaigned in the Kosovo campaign, Desert Shield, and his commendations include Fleet Admiral commendations. Petty Officer 3rd Class Jared Schaefer, serving from 2002 to 2006 in operations Enduring Freedom, Flooding Rock, and Iraqi Freedom. Petty Officer 2nd Class Gene Hood, serving from 1957 to 1961 in the Laos-Cambodia conflict, and he included that his commendations were just good conduct. He said there's more, but what he remembers mainly is good conduct. And lastly, recognition of the Marine Corps. Sergeant Dennis Newby, serving from 1963 to 1971. Sergeant Dennis Newby. Lance Corporal Henry Fay, serving from 1976 to 1979. His commendations include Squad Leader, 81 Motors Infantry. Corporal Carlos Martinez, serving from 2019 to 2023. His commendations include Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medal and Meritorious Unit Commendations. Manuel Perez III, from 2004 serving from 2004 to 2012. So his campaign was three Iraqi combat deployments, one Afghanistan combat deployment. His commendations include Black Belt Instructor Trainer, Warfare Instructor, or Urban Warfare Instructor. Corporal Miguel Vergara Jr., serving from 2011 to 2015.
Corporal Ryan Dalton, serving from 1998 to 2003. Mr. Dalton campaigned on the global war on terrorism, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom. His commendations include combat action, Navy and Marine Corps achievement, and sea service deployment. Lance Corporal Robert Darling, serving from 1966 to 1968, and also a stint from 1973 to 1975. Gunner Sergeant Frank Tambunga served from 1980 to 2002. He campaigned in Desert Storm, Grenada operations, and his commendations include Navy achievement, good conduct, overseas, and several others. Corporal Johnny Tambunga, serving from 2003 to 2007. His commendations include security force and an infantryman in Iraq. Lance Corporal Eric Cardasalis, serving from 2012 to 2020. He campaigned in Hurricane Harvey relief in 2017, Operation African Lion in 2013. His commendations include national defense, humanitarian relief, United States Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal, and I don't know what that said. Times 2, whatever it was times 2. And then lastly, we have Staff Sergeant Emilio Tambunga, serving from 1974 to 1987. He campaigned in Operation Frequent Wind, Saigon evacuation in April 1975, and was a drill instructor from 1982 to 1984. His commendations include national defense, good conduct, armed forces expedition, humanitarian aid, drill instructor ribbon, sea service deployment, Navy unit commendation, rifle expert 5th award, and a pistol sharpshooter. Can you stand up and give him one big round of applause, please? And we cannot afford to forget those who are willing to pay it. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This is what I think veterans are. Veterans are people who volunteer to serve our country. Veterans come from different branches of the armed forces like Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. Veterans charge in their battles knowing it may be their last, yet do not hesitate to do so. To this day, there are about 9 million U.S. veterans. Thank you, veterans, for helping our country become free, and thank you for volunteering your time today, and again, thank you for serving our country.
A veteran is someone who has served one of the 5 military branches, like the Air Force, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, and the Marine Corps. This is the hardest job to qualify for. It's not just the education requirements you all had to reach to get the positions you wanted, but because of the basic training that made it extra hard with all the emotional, physical, and mental things that were put on top of the levels of excellence, perseverance, and all of the other high standards you all had to overcome. First Class Private Desmond Doss once said, "With the world so set on tearing itself apart, it doesn't seem like such a bad thing to me to want to put a little bit of it back together." Can we please have a round of applause for all of our veterans? Now I would like to close with these last words. Thank you all for serving our country, risking your lives on the field, in the sky, the sea, and even behind the technology that has supported you all. All of this has shown us how much you care about trying to solve world peace. So please, on behalf of us all, enjoy your Veterans Day, and thank you for your service.
heroes of our land. In uniforms of valor, you stand so tall, defending our nation, giving it all. Heroes of our land, we deeply respect. Your bravery and honor we'll never forget. Through battles you've marched, through hardships you've pressed, in service to our country, you've been the best. You protected our freedom with all your might. Heroes of our land, you shine so bright.
Today we gather to commemorate a significant and solemn occasion, Veterans Day. This day is a reminder of the dedication, bravery, and sacrifices of our veterans. As we come together to pay our respects and express our gratitude, there is a simple yet powerful tradition that we uphold, the moment of silence. The moment may seem brief, but its significance is profound. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, we often overlook the importance of the quiet reflection. A moment of silence allows us to pause, to remember and to honor those who have selflessly served our country. This moment is the transcends words and speaks through the silence of our heart. In this moment, we can remember those who are no longer with us, who have made the ultimate sacrifice. We can hold our thoughts, the veterans who have endured hardship, both visible and invisible, and who deserve our unwavering support. We can reflect on the legacy they have left behind and the values they uphold. The silence we share today is a symbol of our collective gratitude and unity. It goes beyond generations, political beliefs, and backgrounds. It serves as a common thread that connects us to the veterans who have contributed to the freedom we share. So as we observe this moment of silence, let us do so with reverence and gratitude. Let our thoughts be a testament to the appreciation we hold for our veterans, both past and present. It is a small but meaningful way to show our deep respect for their service. Thank you, and may we all take full advantage of this moment to remember, reflect, and honor the sacrifices of our veterans. Will you please rise for the moment of silence?
Dear students, teachers, honored guests, and our veterans, as we come to the end of our Veterans Day ceremony, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for being a part of this important day of remembrance. Today, we have come together not only to honor our veterans, but to also acknowledge the sacrifices they've made and continue to make in service to our community and our nation. The significance of Veterans Day runs deep. It is not just another date on the calendar. It is a day to pause, reflect, and pay tribute to the brave men and women who have donned the uniform, who have faced adversity with courage, and who have dedicated themselves to preserving our freedoms. Our veterans have made tremendous sacrifices, leaving behind families, enduring hardships, and facing unimaginable challenges. Yet, they have done so with unwavering commitment, selflessness, and a profound love for our country. And let us not forget that their contributions do not end with their military service. Our veterans return to our communities and continue to serve, enriching our society in countless ways. They are our educators, our healthcare professionals, our community leaders, and so much more. They embody the ideals of selfless service and dedication. Today, as we wrap up our ceremony, let us carry the spirit of this day with us.
Let us not only remember our veterans, but actively express our gratitude. Each reach out to a veteran, listen to their stories, and offer your thanks. Small gestures can make a big difference. In closing, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our veterans. Your sacrifices are immeasurable, and we are eternally grateful. Thank you to our students, teachers, and guests for your presence and participation today. Let us go forth from here with a renewed appreciation for courage, commitment, and unwavering spirit of our veterans. Ladies and gentlemen, may we continue to honor, respect, and support our veterans, not only on this Veterans Day, but every day. Thank you all for coming, and I invite our honored guests to join us for lunch inside. Thank you.